Jamie Meloni. Now, here's Jamie.
Hi again, everybody. Thanks for staying tuned in to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. And again, you'll find my show on every Mondays at noon, so I invite you to please tune in as my show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. I want to go over to my first guest in studio today, Mario Neira. He is a home inspector with U.S. Home Inspections. He's the owner of that company. That is his own company. And Mario is a bilingual consulting inspector with more than 26 years of vast experience in the construction industry and is the founder of U.S. Home Inspections, a consultant company for commercial and residential properties. With over 26 years of residential and commercial construction experience in multiple categories, Mr. Neira is sought after for his professionalism and his unique consultant techniques by buyers and professionals in the real estate purchasing and construction process. Mario, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jamie.
Hey, so tell me a little bit about yourself and your company.
Well, so for myself, you pretty much explained. I've been in the business for 26 years and just enjoy really consulting clients and teaching them.
Now, you mentioned to me before going on the air that education is important to you, and that's part of the reason why I do my show. I like to educate and then kind of get out to the public and everything. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, as far as educating clients, I think the inspection field is a lot of important parts to buying a home. And for new buyers that don't have any experience, it's a lot for them to take on. So having a good realtor is, the first thing to have. Someone's going to really help them, guide them in all the different variables. Also understanding the differences between home inspection, the appraisals, and how to choose a good home inspector, how to choose a good realtor, in any aspect of the real estate market. They got to really do the due diligence, which takes a lot of work, and they already have a lot on their plate. So it's a little tough, but my best advice is for them to really do the due diligence and maybe not even get into a property. Or what happens, I think, is that people buy a house or they want to get into a house, and that's all they think about, and they get into it too soon. Maybe start researching these things beforehand. Know what you're going to get involved before you buy a house. So when you go buy a house, you have an idea of what you're going to do with the inspector, the agent, and have all these things lined out and ready to go. Yeah,
absolutely. And I've always, if you listen to my show a lot, you'll hear me explain kind of the process to buying a home. A lot of people just kind of see a property and then they call a realtor and then they just want to go see the property. And then really, I mean, for a major purchase, you really need to make sure that you know what you're doing. If you know what you're doing in real estate, then that's fine. But I find so many times that buyers will call a real estate professional and they'll want to go look at a property and they're not pre-approved for a mortgage. And I always stress the importance of obtaining full loan approval. They should be talking to a loan officer before they talk to a real estate professional, and obtaining a full loan approval instead of just a pre-qualification letter. A pre-qualification letter simply just checks your credit. They ask you a questionnaire, and you tell them what you make, and then they issue you a pre-qualification letter. But it's not based on verification of any of your documents, such as your W-2s, tax returns, things of that nature. And a lot of times people find out after they submit their documents that they weren't quite as honest as they needed to be, and then they're not fully approved for what they thought they could get. And it affects their, purchasing power. And then they find a home that they love only to find out that they can't, purchase it. In addition, the realtor's out their time if they just outright get denied, which does happen too. So that's one of the big processes that people need to take into consideration when they go to buy a home. They also need to make sure that they do have a quality home inspector lined up, because after they get the property under contract, that's really the first line of attack after getting the contract executed, is getting that home inspection done. Tell me a little bit about why a home inspection is so important.
Well, first of all, it can save them lots of money into buying a home that requires a lot more fixing up than they thought about. A good home inspection is going to do more than just telling them the problems. It's going to tell them what to budget for. Like, you get into a house that may have 5 years life left on the roof. That's fine and dandy. It'll pass some of the required inspections, like a 4-point insurance inspection that you're required to have. But it's not going to be in their budget in 5 years. If they need to do that, remarket the pool, and they need to paint the house, these are all things that they need to put in their budget. So it gets more complex, and a good inspector will kind of go through that and shed light on there's more to it than just getting into the house. Now, yeah, it's fine, but the AC is towards the end of its life expectancy, the roof. You're going to have these big components come up, and you need to be prepared for them.
Yeah, and if you're out there in the marketplace looking to purchase a home, and you got to also make sure you know if you're buying a property on an as-is contract or a property that is contingent on some repairs. The standard state contract allows, I think it's for 1.5% of the purchase price, unless it's negotiated differently. But if you find some repairs, the seller is obligated to make some of those repairs in the standard contract, unless it's you're negotiated differently. And we talk a lot about warranted items in the state contract, such as the roof, plumbing, electrical, things of that nature. Not so much cosmetic issues; those are things that the buyer would like to have done. And but Mario, tell me a little bit more about what a home inspection is and what it is not.
A lot of people think that a home inspection is like a municipality inspection or an appraiser. That it is not. And most first-time home buyers don't know the differences sometimes. So that's where someone that has bought a home before, they may know these things. But what it is to really kind of give the actual buyer a good idea of what they're getting into as far as maintenance versus big repairs, and understand their home so that when they get there, they know where things are located. Say a main panel, electrical panel, or the main shutoff water. That's important. If you have a big leak, do they know where it's at to be able to stop it to prevent additional damage till the plumber can get there and stop the leak and fix the problem?
Yeah, I'm often surprised when a lot of people think that a home inspection is somehow required by a lender, but it's not. A home inspection is strictly for the homeowner's own knowledge. The appraisal is what's required by a lender, but an appraisal, even though they'll come up with some conditions on it, is nowhere near to the extent of what a home inspection is. And so take me through a little briefly about what you're looking for in a home inspection. What are some of the optional inspections that you have done, and what are some of the things you're looking at during a home inspection?
Well, I break it down to the major components as far as the major things. You got the roof, electrical, AC, plumbing, structural integrity. Those are the major components. Then you may have a pool. That's another major component. Or you may have a seawall. That's another major component. Those are optional additional inspections above the average. Along the way, I do everything else like windows, doors, go through, check all the faucets. And that's minor stuff, opening cabinet doors, but that's part of a full inspection. Unless the client wants me to do just a major component inspection, then I provide a discount. So understanding what the inspector, and every inspector has different formats they follow and different techniques. So a good way to know what the inspector does is ask for example reports from the inspector before you choose one. Ask them a lot of questions. See how much information they give you when you call them. That way they can provide more information to you, and you can see the difference between different inspectors and different people as far as how much information they're trying to provide.
Now, a lot of times, a home inspection is just as I say, a first line of defense against, problems with the property. Home inspection, again, very general inspection. And if they see an issue with a roof or an electrical system or plumbing inspection, a lot of home inspectors will recommend that that the purchaser go to a specialist in that area. Is that something that you do, or are you able to kind of inspect the systems with a more critical eye than a typical home inspector?
That's one thing I don't like to do, is just pass the information to just, okay, the AC's blowing, recommend AC, got to check it. Electrical works, recommend AC, or recommend electrician to check it. I do a real thorough inspection. When I find things that are above and beyond what I can actually do, or I think is complicated, then I say a special needs to come in here. If I don't see anything that strikes me unusual, then I don't say, okay, I don't pass it on to, hey, bring the professional in. Everything seems to be fine. Now, there's always limitations to that. There's things going to be hidden that I can't see behind walls, or plumbing pipes underneath the ground. You may have family over for Christmas, and you have a septic tank, then it overflows. Then you'd be upset. But the reality of it is, in a few hours that I'm there running the toilets, it's not going to find more further hidden problems that can exist. The seller should have known that, though.
And can a home inspector fail a home? You hear a lot of people say, oh, the home inspection failed. Elaborate on this a little bit.
Okay, yes and no. Okay, like you said, a home inspection is not required unless a home is over 30 years old. Then you must have a 4-point inspection. At that point, it has to pass electrical, AC, plumbing, and roof. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't meet the minimum requirements, then it basically fails the inspection, and you can't get insurance. So it passes a 4-point.
It's strictly an insurance requirement.
Which is a catch-22, because the mortgage company won't give you a loan unless you can get insurance.
Very good. Very good. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 WINS WHNZ. We've been talking with Mario Neira. He is a home inspector and owner of U.S. Home Inspections. And coming back from the break, we're going to be talking a little bit with him in depth about home inspections a little bit more. And also we've got Ryan and Anissa Westfall with Westfall Roofing in studio today. They are a regular contributor to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show, and got an interesting story to cover here on the second half of the show about a specific problem that I'm having on one of my foreclosed properties with regards to the roof. So got the roofers in here today, and got the home inspector in here today. So if you're watching my streamcast, you'll see some photos of the situation pop up here on the streamcast. And again, you can find all of my shows over at tampabayradio.com on the show info tab. You can catch the live stream there. But some good information coming up here on the second half of the show about roofs. So please stay tuned. And again, you're listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins, WHNZ, and we'll be back in a moment. Mario, tell me a little bit, what are some of the key points on the differences between a good inspector and a cookie cutter home inspector?
Well, the big difference is the time they put into a inspection. If a guy tells you he's going to be in and out in a couple hours with the report complete, well, that tells you he's not doing it fast or doing a good inspection. He's doing it very fast. Quality takes time, and there's no way around that. It's going to take time.
Now, Mario, you mentioned something about new construction roofs off air. What is a little bit? Tell us a little bit about this situation.
Just in general, actually, new construction could be an issue too, and I've seen licensed professionals also not perform, and there's big problems and big money in new construction. So, client can potentially lose a lot of money. One of the things that they can do to protect themselves is get a performance bond. It's not very common to do, but performance bonds do help ensure that the job gets completed if something bad goes wrong. And
that's something, speaking of new construction, do you find that a lot of homeowners have a home inspection done on new construction? I know when I bought my first house, I didn't have it inspected. Did you see a lot of consumers have new construction inspected?
Some do, some don't. I think there's a misconception. The average home is going to be fine. You're going to find small things that they would not know otherwise that you can have fixed by the contractor. And sometimes in rare cases, like I had one in 2007, home wasn't even completed. I found $175,000 deficiency. The city of Tampa got in problems. They didn't do their job. The bank inspector didn't do their job. The contractor and the roofer, nobody apparently did the job, and it's $175,000 deficiency.
What was was it a roofing problem?
It was a roofing combination problem with the brick wall and the way it was tied into the house and water was coming in. The way the roofer did the work and the brick, it all just didn't work, and there was water coming into the home.
Interesting. So, Ryan, tell me, how can consumers, select the right contractor? What are they looking for out there to protect them against these types of this type of fraudulent activity and just the improper workmanship?
I would start off on
Thank you to Mario Neira, U.S. Home Inspections, for chiming in with information on the home inspection process. Mario, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we're also joined in studio today by the lovely Stella Giudicelli, a fellow real estate agent with Coral Banker as well. Thank you very much, Stella, for being in the studio today.
Always a pleasure, Jamie.
Thank you very much. And again, if you're just tuning in, you've been listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins, WHNZ. And again, you'll find this show on every Mondays at noon, so I invite you to please tune in, as my show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. I hope everybody has a great week and have a great Labor Day weekend.
The opinions, viewpoints, and promises made during the preceding program are not those of WH.